What's good, y'all? This is the Trapping with Gods podcast. Yo, what's up, y'all? What's good? This is the Trapping with Gods podcast. I'm Angela with the goods.
And I am your girl, Coach K. And welcome to the #1 spiritual growth podcast in the world, where we empower unlimited beings to discover and align with their true selves. Welcome.
Period. I feel like I gotta find something else to say, because I feel like an auntie when I say period. Like, I feel like people don't really say that anymore.
I like period.
You like it? It's my mic on.
Why we can't?
We can do whatever we want. All right. Y'all, thank you for being here with us. We always start off with the gratitude.
Absolutely.
And we want to let y'all know how grateful we are for y'all tapping in with us and listening and watching us on YouTube, listening to us on Spotify, and the feedback that you're giving us, all of that stuff. Like, we really appreciate it, and we don't take it for granted. Reflection, because you are a reflection of us. Like, we growing together, ain't that right?
We are growing together. We all listen.
So today, your #1 spiritual growth podcast in the world, your favorite podcast, we're going to talk about the law of assumption versus the law of attraction. I love analogies like, breaking like LOA. So it's like LOA versus the LOA, that's kind of cheesy maybe, but yeah. So law of attraction versus law of assumption. Now, what do you said you don't know much about law of assumption.
I said we can do it. Let's jump on. I said, but coach, you gonna be coaching me today, because I know a bunch about law of attraction. Has seen it in my life. Law of assumption, maybe I know about it, and I think I don't know.
So law of assumption is like, that's like Neville teachings.
Okay.
So basically, the assumption you living from the assumed position or person that you want to be.
Oh.
So it's like you're living from the end.
Oh.
Yeah. You like that? That feels less like magic, maybe, does it, than law of attraction?
No,
not really.
Yeah, I think when I said the magic part, I think I was saying this on the last episode. I may have mentioned that was sometimes things, people and different people that I watch on YouTube make it seem like things is magical, and I'm like, oh, this is real life, this is real shit. But I think it's just the perspective in the way people put a spin on it. Because for me, I'm like, no, I'm here to grow. And you said this in one episode, my healing might be ugly, I might be crying, I might not. No, this is real shit. Like, I know I'm that person. If I have a desire, law of assumption. Now I'm going back, so you going off. But I
don't forget that. Why you trying to keep it together? No, I'm like focus. I'm like focus, Angela.
Law of assumption. Okay, see, I was going there, but it makes me. It's like, I know I'm this person. God put this, desire. I have a desire from a good place, not me like lacking and wanting it and needing it as I don't have it. Like, I'm like, okay, like Neville says, like,
that's the law of assumption. That's the assumption.
Like, the reason why I'm saying that is
Namaste.
Because you're like, the law of assumption is knowing you're living in the end.
Yeah.
So you're living in the end as if you already are or have that thing.
Correct.
Right? I'm bringing that up because I was saying, let me try to connect the dot. But I'm like, oh, I know that. I know what you're saying. But in reference to you saying, oh, is that less magical or not?
Okay.
I don't think it have anything to do with it being magical or anything like that. I think it's more so who's presenting the information and how they're saying it. They're like, oh, all you gotta do is this. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm not just gonna wake up, just say I'm wealthy.
You need somebody say, you can say I'm wealthy, but it might take but it's all about your belief. You gotta believe. It's
I want to find Jesus, but anyway, I love that. But no, that's, yeah. So when you say magical, I'm like, it could be, first of all, like you say, it could be whatever the hell you say it is. Let's make that clear. But for me, it's like, it's deeper for me. Just because of experiences I've had in my life. I'm like, oh, this ain't just about me manifesting a car and whoop, I got a car. This ain't about me just manifesting $1 million and I got $1 million. Life means more than material shit. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
So I equate that with if you're saying magical, if I've said magical in the past, that's what I mean. Like, oh, I can get a car tomorrow.
Okay.
I'm gonna wake up. No, it's this, life is more. God has shown me life is more than that.
Okay.
Is what I mean.
Okay.
All right. Yeah, law of assumption, I'm with it. I like it. I get it now. So it's just called law of assumption. So at first I didn't know, because Joe Dispenza, everybody taught, they don't necessarily say law of assumption, but that's the point. Like, you know, you want to, it's something you want to do or somewhere you want to go or be. Don't walk around in the state of mind or the consciousness that you don't have it.
Correct. And when you are asking, when you're saying something, that's how affirmations can sometimes be tricky, because you're like, it's like, what are you saying? Like, how you're saying something, you could still be saying it in the absence of something. You understand? You're saying something and you are saying it because you don't have it. But if you have it, you wouldn't be saying this.
That's how I used to be.
Yes.
And I used to be like that. Like, I would say, matter of fact, yeah, I don't know a good example. I'll come back to that. But a lot of books and stuff, you said it perfectly. Because when I first started trying to really hammer the concept into my head, and I can call it law of assumption now that I know I have a name for it, I was definitely reading more. That's how Eric Butterworth became my favorite author, because his stuff, like, was hammering it into my head, like, and why a lot of, and Neville Goddard goes into this too, why a lot of prayers aren't answered. Because if you have a situation or you have a limitation in your life, say like for me, I know I was telling Angela, I gotta go back to work. You know what I mean? I know I'm gonna have to go to somebody's job. I have a purpose in life and a mission, but I also know a part of my purpose is to take care of my daughter and provide for her, right? So I'm definitely going to go to somebody's job right now until I can start manifesting money for my side business and all that. But where I was going with that is saying, if you in need of a job and you're praying for a job, or you meditating and you releasing it to source or the divine or whatever the name is you have for it, and you're saying, oh, damn, I know I need a job, but you're still looking for a job as a person that is not working or does not have the job, then you pushing it further and further away from you by coming at it from that consciousness. Am I going in the right direction? Versus saying, I have the job, I'm already working, and you're looking for a job in that state of consciousness. Am I coming from, am I kind of...
You said versus what?
So say for instance, I'm like, like I told you, I'm going back to work. I'm going to go at it from, I'm working. I have a job.
Yeah, you're going to come at it from like, I have a job. I love my job. It's absolutely great.
Everything.
Yeah.
You're going to evoke that feeling that you would have if you were already
evoke working. The feeling. There you go. That's it. That's the key thing of the law of assumption is your feeling. That's what Neville talks about. That's what Abraham Hicks talks about, is the feeling is the secret. I think that's his book. Yes, Neville Goddard. Yeah. And so that's another thing about your thoughts creating, going back to that, which we talked about that last week, is that if you think a thought that feels good, like you think a thought, I'm gonna go back to work and I'm gonna love my job, I'm gonna love what I'm doing, you're gonna feel good about it. Your feelings is what creates, you know, what's the harm in thinking good thoughts versus bad thoughts? Not even bad, but like thoughts that don't make you feel good. What's the difference in the two? And I think that some people would be, I used to be, let me speak about myself, I would be afraid to, not consciously now, afraid to think something positive. What is it? It's not harming anything. So that's the difference between the law of assumption, law of attraction.
Yeah. Okay. I'm glad.
You just said it.
Yeah. I got it. Out of all the damn books I be reading. But when you say, because sometimes keeping all these goddamn laws and stuff, they be getting law police.
I mean, look, I feel like I hadn't even gotten into all of that, but for me, it's like I definitely. What about the law of attraction though? Because I feel like I don't even know if that's something that it's like which law works for you. I don't know law of polarity and all of that, so I can't say it.
I don't damn know what that means, but I know Tom talked about it. You know, if y'all tune in to Tom from Be Something Wonderful, he is somebody else that we recommend checking out.
Yeah,
he's definitely special and different. But if you can keep an open mind, check him out. But
love Tom.
I heard love Tom. Tom, we love you.
Love. We really do. No, like that.
If you come across this video, we fuck with you.
For real.
No, for real. And that's not, we laughing, but we dead ass serious. But anyway, but I don't know what that means either. Tom just said it off of one video. And I was like, Tom, how are you trying to figure out what you talking? But they do have a lot of laws and stuff. But I'm like kind of old school. I'm like God's law. It's God's law. All of it's God's laws, but universal laws, or you could put it.
I think it's a different, like the law of attraction or law of assumption would be just maybe different entryways or pathways to follow. Like what works for you again, but it all goes back to God. But it's like, okay, well, we got to break the shit down. Like we got to break God down, and that's why I say you got to learn how to be God. You know, so it's like you don't understand the magnitude of the power, so you got to be like, okay, you got to learn about yourself, you got to learn what it is that works for you. I feel like
I like that you said break God down.
Yeah,
I like that, Angela. I love Jesus, y'all. I'm sorry. Well, we love everybody over here, but I definitely will say I love Jesus. And I'm bringing him up because when she said break God down, spiritual based concepts and things of that nature that, you know, sometimes it's hard to digest. Like if you know, you guys are into Neville Goddard. Sometimes Neville Goddard, I think you had said this, it's hard to listen to Neville sometimes. Did you try to listen to his book and you was like, I wasn't catching it?
I think somebody was reading, because I don't mind his voice. I don't really mind his voice. But yeah, it's not that really like, no, it wasn't him. Like, okay. I think somebody else was reading one of his books. Okay. But what were you going to say about?
Damn. It's gone. But anyway, we was coming from, we was talking about law of attraction, law of assumption.
Yeah, and we were saying Neville is he goes
tell stories. I was talking about Jesus. I was about to bring it, tie it back in. Okay, it's coming back. But when you said break God down, that's where we were. And so I love that, because when you start talking about spiritual based concepts, and sometimes I'll just say for me, sometimes Neville has some things I really have to sit on, because I'm like, what did he just say? Like, I don't understand that. And it's spiritual. It's so spiritual and hard for the human mind to understand that you have to break it down into stories or just digestible pieces. And that's what Jesus did a lot. He did it in parables. He used to
that we can't understand right now, though.
We still can't understand the damn mystical language and shit. But yeah, he would break down things from a spiritual nature down into bite-sized pieces so that we could they could back then, and we, like you said, still trying to understand what he was trying to explain from his God consciousness. Like, you know, so yeah. I don't know where we're going.
That just made me think of something I heard earlier this week that was like, first it happens in the spirit, then it happens in the mind, and then it happens without.
I like that.
When you said Jesus getting it in the spirit, and like, spirit, and then the mind. But Neville, the reason why I feel like I could rock with him was because, and I do think it's because he has teachings that are biblical. Like he talks a lot about the Bible and the principles of
he does.
The disciples, and breaking it down more,
quoting scripture.
Quoting scriptures, but it's not
dogmatic.
It's more of like, what, this is your thought. Like he says that our God is our own human imagination. Like that's one of the things. So like God is what you imagine. Your imagination is God. God creates everything without, so you go within to create without. Yeah. I love Neville.
I don't know. Did you introduce me to Neville Goddard?
I probably did. I probably introduced you to every fucking body except Eric Butterworth.
Yeah, I feel like
I was on YouTube. I was like, I gotta introduce her to like Greg Braden and like these folks that I'm like, remember the other day
now,
I
you doing my move.
No, I told you. I said, look at this person. I was like, it was Eckhart Tolle. Yeah.
Oh yeah. She. I will definitely. I appreciate that because you literally expanded my mind.
And you help me. Like we help each other.
We do help each other, but you expanded. You definitely. You know where I got Eric Butterworth from? Not to go off into that, but Dr. Barbara King. You brought me to that church, Hillside. What is it? True Center?
Yeah, International Truth Center.
Yes, get it right now because I want to speak right on what Dr. Barbara created over there.
When y'all see this September, go to their website and Hillside International Truth Center.org, if not .com, and they're having an event. It's called Ubuntu, and it's like gonna be all these speakers, and one of the keynote speakers are all these speakers. I wouldn't doubt that it's not going to be freaking amazing. And I'm telling Keisha right now, I haven't told her this, but y'all go check it out. They're going to have some great speakers like Marianne Williamson.
What?
Iyanla Vanzant. And it's all free.
Oh, also. I'm going to that.
I think it's like September 24th.
I'm going to that.
Yeah.
It's done.
Yeah.
I'm already excited.
I already RSVP for 2 people. But,
thank you.
But I want you to RSVP because I'm trying to bring people
then I'm
telling y'all.
Because I'm excited. Oh, girl.
Yeah.
Anyway, but let me finish where I was going with this. And this actually goes right. Thank you, God. This goes right in line with law of attraction. So let me break it down how much I believe in law of attraction. So you took me to Hillside for a service, and this goes back to that Bible. Now you remember that?
Yeah.
When I came to your house that day, and you had that Bible, and what did I tell you? I had been looking for that Bible.
Yeah.
That Bible freaking was costing $1,200. I said, Angela, where you get that Bible from? And she was like, Hillside. So I ended up going to the church with her. Okay. They have a book center, which is dope at the church. I mean, they have all kind of spiritual books you can think of in there. We went in there and we started having more conversations, right? And then I started telling you about Dr. Eric Rocco Erico.
Yeah.
And you was like, at first you kind of didn't remember who it was. And you was like, I think he used to come to the church and talk. And I was like, oh, this the book that I read for him. And then I gave you how to set a trap for God. Set a trap for God. Law of attraction, baby. Yeah. I just was thinking about that because all of that stuff I found Dr. Rocco Erico on YouTube.
Was it law of attraction or was it law of assumption? Ooh.
What you mean?
I don't know.
I know my ass get long-winded, but when I first began my spiritual journey, let me say that, and my life was just really fucked up at the time, and I went on a journey. Y'all done heard me say this plenty of times. I had to figure out who was God, what was it. I had to figure it out because I'm like, if God is this great or whatever, why is my life so fucked up? So anyway, I started going on a journey, and I came out of all my searches, Dr. Rocco Erico came up, and I started watching some of his stuff. So then I ordered his book, and so on and so on. But then it's crazy how he used to talk at the church. And I don't know where I was going with this, but I just feel like all of that is within what we're talking about, especially with the law of attraction.
You said law of attraction.
Yeah, because those were things that I was already seeking and that came to me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so that's how I'm tied in.
Yeah. I think law of attraction is something that I don't necessarily think about either one of those as like I'm thinking I'm using the law of assumption right now.
No.
I'm using so I'm not necessarily aware, but I don't.
You aware?
I feel like,
but you don't call it that. Like at the time, this is law of polarity.
Yeah,
or this
but
law of
I feel like in a way, I almost feel like I need to choose one or the other. in a way. I don't know how best to say that right now, but
that's interesting.
Yeah, it feels like it almost feels like one is better than the other, but I know that to not be true. I'm sorting it out right now as I'm talking also, because
do tell.
I feel like maybe a law of attraction is, I don't know, what do you think the processes are to activate the law of attraction? That's the best way I can ask that question.
Activate it. I think it's something that's always going on.
Okay.
I don't think that it's something you have to activate. I think we are always attracting things into our lives. So then what would
you, then to attract the things that you want, you would need to, what we've been talking about is like know what you're thinking. Be aware.
Your thoughts
be conscious.
And beliefs. Absolutely.
And then the law of assumption is same thing, right? It's like we are aware of how we're moving,
absolutely,
what we're thinking. So it's kind of like
it's always working.
It's just like going back to say it's just like a pathway.
It is a pathway. I attracted my husband and he attracted me. My ex-husband. Like, I'm over here acting like I'm still here. Yeah.
So then maybe the law of attraction is like your self-concept in a way, because you're attracting what you're being, like what you are internal, because it's like, if I attract somebody that is, if I'm upset or angry all the time, I might attract somebody that's like gonna trigger that, whatever,
it's it's like you said, it's, from my understanding, it's your thoughts and your beliefs. And you can have a thought so much, especially when you unconscious, that's what you believe in now. I like to say, like, I think I said this to you before, like, okay, I had the thought and now I have become the thought. Yeah. Like, I actually...
Don't become the thought now. If you don't want it to... if it's a good thought,
don't become the thought now. Yeah, I had the thought and then I actually became the thought. And that's another way of saying a belief, right?
Yeah.
You thought it so much, you started believing it. And you stopped even trying, like you stop even just saying, what is this about? Like, why am I even thinking this? Why is this even coming across me or addressing it? So yeah, I don't know where I was going with that, but yeah.
Okay. All right. So we know law of attraction and law of assumption are both what you're thinking and believing. The difference is you're moving from who you are. Law of assumption, you're assuming. Let's tell the story about Neville. You know the story about Neville when him going to Barbados?
I know it, but you want to tell it?
I think it's a great story.
Some of y'all might know it, but for those of you who don't follow Neville Goddard and don't know it, what's the story?
Neville Goddard, he was a dancer. It was like a depression happening. He was from Barbados. He wanted to go to Barbados to see his family. He had a mentor. His name was, I think, like Abdullah. Yeah. And he told his mentor that, and the mentor was like, okay, you're already in Barbados. And Neville was confused. He kept telling him, you already in Barbados. Eventually, Neville says he starts to go to sleep with the wish fulfilled, like he was in Barbados. So he would go to sleep. This is what is called state akin to sleep.
I think he started believing it. He actually started, in my mind, I'm like, oh shit, he started believing it.
Yeah. So what he talks about is you have stats. Like when you go to bed at night, right when you get to that drowsy state, you imagine yourself as you want to be. So he was imagining himself in Barbados, which probably, since you listen to Joe, like all of that stuff, your mind is very powerful, so he's conditioning that whatever your thoughts create. So then eventually he got a ticket to Barbados from his brother, and then he wanted to go like first class, and that's the whole other part of the story where he like then went to get on the ship and he went first class, and he was in Barbados. I think that this also makes me think about, it's like things just showing up for you, like it's that simple. But I think the thing is, like, you can't hold on to it. That's the key. And a lot of times I feel like we don't get these things that we desire because we are holding tight to it, and we're looking like, where is that, and that's bringing you back, because you're not living from that end. You're living from like, this is not happening, where is that? So it's kind of pushing back you going back to that consciousness, that old consciousness.
Yeah, I mean, Joe Dispenza talks about that too. This is, I mean, like, we all one and different perspectives, but we kind of all be saying the same thing, just in different ways. But he talks about that, like, that's your favorite outro is when you say, don't, the how is not your concern, right? What I'm thinking when you say that is, we're asking and we're looking because we have not yet believed it. Like, we don't believe it can happen. We're not living in the end, right? Law of assumption, like Angela was saying. We're not living in the end. And Joe Dispenza brings that up when he's referencing changing your state of being. It's really the same thing to me, in my opinion. We want to be somebody else. Like, whether it's the person, me, I'm working on, healing my hypertension. Said you
have to be somebody else.
You do have to. You have
literally have to be someone else.
Somebody else. And this is something I still am working on. You know what I mean? Like, you do look around. We talked about the validation and shit before. Like, you looking out there to be like, oh, who liked my posts? Or, I said this great thing, and who's following me today? No. You don't look for any evidence. And I think sometimes knowing. Yeah, that's the part of knowing. You have to get that in your head and get it by trapping, meditating.
Bring it back.
Returning it back to your true self and knowing, like, hey, this is already done.
Trapping is essential.
Most definitely. So returning back to knowing these things. So I think, a lot of spiritual greats and masters are saying these things. You know what I mean? And how to get those things that you are looking for, that you desire, or you have, will bring deep meaning and fulfillment to within your life, Yeah.
First, you got to know what you want.
Know what you truly want. I took the words out your mouth. We always saying it.
That gotta be a topic too.
The laws work together.
They work together.
I feel like they work together.
Absolutely.
Now, listening to you tell the story about Neville, I'm like, oh shit, they work together. Like, he lived in the end. First of all, like you were saying, Abdullah kept telling him, and I think he goes into the story where he's like, man, I'm like, what are you talking? He's not saying it like this, but like, what are you talking about? Like, I'm in Barbados, you in Barbados, and Abdullah getting upset with him, you in Barbados, not talking to him, and he starts to believe that it's
and that
true.
Was his true desire, because if it ain't your true desire, then he felt that. He felt Barbados. He felt his family. He felt all of that.
The love.
That was a true desire.
Love.
If it's not a true desire, then it's gonna be hard to feel. It's gonna be hard to change. I love that's that. Really Angela. Coming that's up for hitting. Me. It's a light bulb.
Damn, that's good. That's really, really good. Right? But I love that. But they worked together, so he believed it, and then the shit came to him.
Yeah.
And that not working together, law of attraction. That's what, to my understanding, law of attraction is. And to,
let's not forget the law of polarity.
Oh, like that we don't know nothing about. We gonna have to look that up and come back to y'all.
All the laws work together. Now I'm interested in the law of polarity.
It might be. I almost feel like, don't quote me, y'all. This is. I almost feel like it's the thing that I always love when we get into the conversations and I'm talking about God, the separation, like the God consciousness and the human consciousness, or the ego, or the devil versus God. A lot. You talk about that. I almost feel like that's what I think he was talking about. Like, it's not it's no separation in God. It's all God.
Okay.
But I think, I could be wrong, y'all. I think that's when he brings up the law of polarities. That's what he's talking about. That may be a concept that I'm still. But I think we gonna look it up and see.
Yeah, we could just look it up.
We could just look it up, y'all. But I think that's what Tom was trying to break down, and that I really was trying to get it. But I think that's what he was talking about. Yeah. But they all, they I feel like they're God's laws. This is the laws of the universe, y'all. This is God gave us these laws for somehow we don't damn know nothing. We trying to figure it out, but this has been going on for ages. This has been going on for ages and ages, since the beginning of time.
Yeah, and to think about, it was a time when I didn't recognize any law but like the law of Georgia, because I follow the laws for the most part. Y'all, Keisha's had y'all crazy and stuff like that. But yeah, like it was a time. What? It was a time when I just followed those type of laws, and those were the laws that govern me, and I don't subscribe to those. Not as, you know, I'm gonna put on my blinker.
We follow the laws, y'all. Don't let her think don't let her make y'all think we rebels. But you know what I think of when you say that is you following, and I say what my daddy say, love you daddy, man's laws. That's how he break it down.
Like maybe it's better to say like man law don't govern me. Okay.
He always say,
that's it.
Man, people will follow man's law, but they don't want to follow God's law. He always say that. But yeah, that's just what came up in my mind when you said you was following Georgia.
Do they not want to follow it? People want to. They want
or they
to.
Don't know.
That's all it is.
Or they know and they choose not to. Or they know and they choose otherwise because they can choose, right?
Yeah.
They could choose. They could choose.
That makes me think of this quote that I came up on this week. It was so good, by William Shakespeare.
Oh, find it. That'll be a good way for us to exit on out too.
Yeah,
what you find it good?
Because I've been on Threads, y'all. I'm on Threads. If y'all on Threads, it's like the
she
Twitter
gonna have to help me out
for Instagram. You know,
Coach K still working on it.
You can follow me over there too. So I was threading. And the quote is, all right, this is from William Shakespeare now. So it's like the language might just, I'm going to read it a few times. All right.
Go ahead.
If to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches and poor men's cottages, princes' palaces. Okay. I'm going to read that again. If to do were as easy as to know what were good to do, chapels had been churches and poor men's cottages, princes' palaces. Yeah,
that's deep, and I understand it. And one simple way of saying what I understand that saying is life.
That's what we were talking about, right?
Yeah.
I forget why I pulled out the quote, but it was because the first part is we know what to do. You know what I'm saying? We know what to do. If it was as easy as doing it, then everything would be
done.
Yeah.
It'd be done.
Yeah.
And then like you say, it'll take out the fun, or maybe that's Mickey's.
Yeah. And say, what? It would be boring. Like, it's just plain.
Oh, Michael Singer, I love you.
Yeah.
Well, this is another great episode, and I just love trapping with you, my dog.
Yeah.
I appreciate you. Yeah, I love you, man.
Love you too. I love you too. And
we love y'all too.
I'm happy to be here.
Me too.
Right here next to you.
This feels good.
Through all of us learning everything we learning.
Absolutely.
Because like we say, we are learning. Y'all here with us. We're understanding how to flow and to move through life and to move through these podcast episodes. So we appreciate y'all for watching us and tapping in and listening. We don't take y'all for granted. We like to leave it a little. So we talked about law of attraction, law of assumption. Hopefully, we talked a little bit more about law of assumption, I feel like, versus law of attraction. I kind of assume like people know what law of attraction is, but we're not here to make assumptions like that. So, but we talked about both.
We did. So we hope that fed y'all. We hope that gave y'all something to add to your journey.
Follow us, like, subscribe, and don't forget to forget the how. I need to learn another way to say that. Forget the how, y'all, because the how doesn't matter. It's not your concern.
It ain't your damn concern. Okay. Now, we love y'all. That sound like some Tabitha Brown shit. That she lean in that camera and be like, she love you. We out, y'all. Peace.
All right, peace.